Hello, this is Chris from Optinet, and in the latest of the Dig Deep series of videos, we're going to look end-to-end at everything to do with text messaging through Flex. How to set up an account, configure it in Flex, and then what it can be used for, both for autonomous tasks and also ad hoc messaging. We're going to start off by looking at where we'd put the login details into Flex. And to do this, you're going to need to click into Menu and choose Setup. I will, of course, show you how to set up an account in a moment, but it's always worth checking to see if you've got an account already. That's something which is often set up as part of the induction process. If you click into the branch settings and then click across to communication, up here you'll see details for 24x. They are the third party who we work with to provide text messaging functionality. As you can see, it's all empty at the moment, so I'll show you where to set up an account. You can do this through our utilities website, optinetuk.net, N-E-T. A few useful bits and pieces on here around useful documents, being able to download TeamViewer, and then links for other third parties, including DocMail, Locate, that's for postcodes, but we're going to use 24x. Using our reseller portal, by the way, means that you'll get 10 free credits and your account will instantly be validated, so just makes things a little bit easier for the setup process. Click on free trial, and what you'll then be able to do is put in all of your details to get set up with an account. There we are. So you can put in here obviously your name, your company, email address, mobile to send a password to. Your mobile number won't be linked to your account per se, certainly not for your patients seeing it. However, you'll be sent a username by email and a password by text message. So just make sure you've got your mobile handy to make a note of that. Upon setting up the account, as I said, you'll then get an email with the account name and the password with the account details. You can put these into Flex by pushing updates, and then in communication, your username will be OPT and then 5 numbers. And your password, obviously you can set this. If you do change it on their website, then you'll need to, of course, change it here in Flex as well. By default, it will be 8 capital letters. And then you also get the chance to choose who you want your message to appear from. So it won't be from +44 7905, etc. It's 11 characters though, your limit here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There you go. I can't count and type at the same time. You can choose who you want your message to be from. Opticians fits quite nicely for 9 characters. And that's who the message will appear as being from. As I say, 11 is the limit to what you can put in there. Once it's set up once, you should never need to do it again. Obviously, I've just put some dummy account details in there, but if you press check account, it will bring through saying about your ID and password, whether or not they're correct, and also it will show you how many credits you've got there. There is a test SMS function. I wouldn't worry about using that. It would use one of your 10 free credits. When you're on the website, by the way, that's where you can top up. So with the username and password, do keep those handy or save them in your browser. Then you can click on their website through to top up. And you'll see that they are banded. So the more you buy, the cheaper they get. There's no expiry date on them. So whilst I wouldn't advocate to buy 5,000, buying 5,000, my point is that's actually cheaper than 4,500 because it's in the next band up. They start at around 7 pence, going down to more like 4 pence for the more you buy. Like I say, no limit on how many you can buy, or they'd never expire. If you do have multiple practices, I'd recommend just having the one account, because you can choose the from name in each branch and you get the economy of scale of them being a little bit cheaper there as well. So what we're going to do first is look at some of the automated tasks which the text messaging can perform in Flex. All of these, by the way, would be relevant for email. I would recommend text messaging over email because, yes, of course, there is a small charge to it, but I always think a text message is quite intrusive, and I mean that in a good way. You always look at your phone, don't you, if you get an SMS? So we'll look at where you'd be able to set this up. Under the appointments, you can set them for appointment reminders. So this isn't for recall. This is when someone's booked in an appointment, they can get a message to confirm it. Practices can set appointment reminders by SMS, so you can set to get those messages perhaps 24 hours beforehand. So you can choose the template. Those live under communication. We'll look at that in just a moment. So I'm going to set to get an appointment reminder 24 hours before their appointment. That's quite useful. And then also appointment confirmations. Bear in mind, of course, it would now cost twice as much, as it were, using an appointment confirmation as well. But as soon as they book, or certainly within 15 minutes, within a quarter of an hour, they'll get a message just to confirm their appointment saying, thanks for booking, here's the details. And like I said, you can do that by email as well. So if you've been using Flex Booking Appointments already and you've just put those appointment reminders on, those are scheduled at the point when the appointment is booked. So anyone booking from this point forward will now get those messages scheduled 24 hours beforehand. If a patient ever books in under 24 hours time, by the way, don't be surprised if they won't get one due to the scheduling, which I've just mentioned. But just to show you, if you do want to make these appear for appointments retrospectively that have been booked, under the system menu, and of course give us a call if you're not sure about this, then what we can do is what's called add appointment timeline entries, and that will schedule those messages so they get the text 24 hours in advance for anyone who has booked an appointment before this system was set up. Let's have a look at the actual messages which we're sending. So we're looking at our Flex defaults at the moment. If I click into my SMS templates, Flex ships with a few defaults which are quite useful. Let's have a look at the appointment confirmation. They all look fairly similar, and what we can do here is type out the message that we'd like them to get. So I'm actually going to start this one completely blank, but you can see here it says, hello, Pat Salutation. That's a merge field. So, hello, Chris. This is an appointment confirmation for, then it's building in the appointment date and time. We look forward to seeing you then. This red message, by the way, is warning you that the character count's not exact. You can see here how many credits each message costs. You get a good few sentences for your credit, for your few pence. This 168, this would merge down to quite a lot less, by the way, because, for example, app slot start date, I'm not going to go through and count how many characters that is right now. But for example, just sending through, 01, 04, 2021 would only be 8 characters as the date, and 1400 for the time would take a lot less too. So if I remove all that, then the red message disappears. But just to show you, we could write a message saying, hi, and then we're going to want the patient's name. There's a few different merge fields we can use in here. I'm going to go for the patient details. So we're going to be slightly less formal, which might be a normal thing to do by text message. Hi, Pat, first name. A reminder of your appointment on. And then I'm going to use what's called the app slot table. Again, our default should save you having to build these, but just show you how we do a text message on app slot start date at app slot start time. Pull that into the wrong place, apologies. There we are. So we can bring all the details through like that. And then I could also put in, for example, the branch description or the branch name. So if you've got 3 different practices, you'd say from Bob's Opticians in, and then wherever it would be. But here's a quick example, and that will appear as being from Opticians, because that's who we set up, and that's now saved on the system. So that's how you can actually build the appointment reminders. The other places they can be used autonomously are as parts of the recall schedules. So looking here at an example recall schedule, let me just build one here. We can create a schedule for this. So if we're saying that patients are going to get a text message, they're going to get the site test recall when they're due. You probably wouldn't have to build a new schedule, by the way. You could just update REM or adult child diabetic. I'm on a completely empty system to show you this. But we can choose that they're going to get the text message called site test recall when they're due. If you're sending anything except letters, I think it's a fair assumption that you'd have a postal address for all your patients. Then I would recommend setting up a substitute. So this patient will get a text message, but what if they don't have a mobile phone number, or indeed they don't want to get messages? Then you can set that they'll get a letter, which is called that instead. So I would recommend substitutes when it comes to using text messaging and indeed email, anything but postal. And we'll see there that there's a substitution selected. So when patients are put onto that reminder category moving forward, then they'll be getting text messages. I showed you a quick fix to ensure appointment reminders would be sent retrospectively. If you want help applying this to previous patients for recall, do run through that with us. Drop us a ticket through the portal, flexhelp.co.uk. It's just the kind of thing that it's best to run through with you, in honesty. The other place where we can use text messages automatically are as part of orders. So looking through all of your order status here, I'm just going to create one, for example, called patient notified. You'd have these in here: order created, sent to lab, order received, you know, the ones that I mean. Then what we can do is, if I choose patient notified, you can actually set up text, email or letter templates to go out against these. So for example, if I was to choose glasses ready in that list, then automatically the patient, when they're chosen as patient notified, will get the message called spectacles ready. Quite usefully, by the way, you can delay these by up to 30 days. So if you've marked it as collected, then a month later I could automatically get a text message just to see how I'm getting on. So drop in for a free glasses MOT or free adjustment. Cynically, I always say it's adding in an extra touch point between booting them out the door and seeing them again in 2 years' time. So you can use them here against an order status as well. And that's pretty much everything for the automations. Looking through the patient journey, it can confirm their appointment, it can let them know when their spectacles or contact lenses are ready, and then you're able to use it for part of patient recall as well. Let's have a look at where we'd put this onto the patient's record then. So what happens when we take a mobile phone number off them? So I'm going to update this patient record, and I'm going to add the mobile phone number. It's in yellow, by the way, because it's got a data check on it. What that means is that if you haven't got the mobile phone number or email address, for example, it'll give you a quick nudge and just say, oh, don't forget to take that. It's got validation on it as well. I'm just going to prove how objective validation can be. That mobile number I've put on there, it'll be happy with. I'm just going to take a character out, and it won't be. And indeed, it wouldn't let us save the record like that. A mobile phone number has to be 11 digits and start 07. Just like with an email address, it's got to have an @ symbol and a top-level domain, so .com, .co.uk, etc. So if I put the mobile number in there, I'm just going to show you what my record looks like at the moment. So it's not in there, and I can just get notified by letter, because as I said, that's a safe assumption. Everyone's got a letter, as it were, postal address. Would I like to update the patient's reminders? That means now I put a text message, would I like to get reminders? And I'm going to say yes. And you'll notice that SMS has appeared for recall and notification. So superseding GDPR, we're able to contact a patient by text message because they've given us that mobile phone number. It's an opt-in policy. Indeed, it'd be the same for email. If you want patients to be able to get marketing messages from you as well, with GDPR, a two-step process, again, due to GDPR itself, you have to mark that, yes, they're happy to receive messages. It'll be on not asked by default, but you can choose consented or not. And then, as you probably know, if you ever signed up for a newsletter or bought anything online these days, to be honest, are they happy to be contacted by yourselves for marketing? Under preferences, as we can see, for recall notifications, which supersede GDPR, then they're happy to be contacted. But if I just pull SMS up for marketing, you're now able to send me marketing by text. So regarding actually sending a message to a patient, away from the automations that we've discussed, if you press message, you can choose text message. So again, it's telling us we're out of credits at the moment. That's absolutely fine. And it's now going to just leave us with a blank window. What I can do is type my own message in here, and you'll get a little character count so we can see how long it's going to send. Notice I didn't try and speak and type at the same time that time. So you'll see here how long the messages are, just to show you in slightly more human terms how long a message can be. You can see this is all still 1 credit. It's going to go over to 2 at 160, I think it was. There we go. So you can see how much you can actually get for 1 credit. So you can start a blank message and then send it through like that. Or if you press use template, then we're able to use the templates which are on the system. These are the ones that we saw in the setup. It's just warning me that I'm using a template, so I can't use it anymore. And if I double click on that one, just to show you, it's actually bringing through all of the details from my name, etc. as well. You can press send, and that will go straight off to the patient. You can schedule it if you want to. I'd recommend just pressing send. Don't need to wait for a report. It'll go straight through. So you do get 10 free credits when you set up an account with 24x. Play around with those and see how you get on. When you contact a patient through any form, then that will appear in their correspondence log. Let me just put a phone call. A phone call, by the way, isn't to actually record the actual conversation. It's just to say, for example, don't mind me, and make a note of the number we called on. I'm just doing this to show you that it will generate a tab called Correspondence, and you'll be able to see there the method they've been contacted with and all the correspondence to date. Indeed, you can double click on it and see more information too. So all text messages sent to a patient will be shown through there. When they come to book an appointment, they can get that confirmation. You'll notice it'll say SMS added to timeline. All your notifications will go out automatically. They're disabled on my training system at the moment, but they will accrue, indeed go up and down through the day as they become due if they're going 24 hours beforehand. That's where you see the diary and the order ones, and for part of patient recall, they'll accrue in there. And the good thing is, especially if you're using perhaps doc mail for letters that you print, there's nothing for you to actually do in the practice. You can just double click onto the recall, press send, letters go to doc mail, text messages get sent, emails go as well. And a lot of practice feedback that as soon as they press that button, the phone starts ringing because people are actually calling to book in. When you do send a text message, if your phone number's in it, they can press that on a smartphone and it can be added into their contacts. If there's a date and time in the message, they've got the option to add it into their calendar. So it can even help with things like appointment success rate. If you think, let's do a bit of quick maths, if you're doing maybe 10 appointments a day, and if you bought lots of credits, they're costing you 5p each, that's going to be 50 pence a day. We could call that £2.50 a week, £10 a month. So what, £120 a year on this exceptionally rough logic. Certainly for the cost of doing that, if it helps 2, 3, 4 patients attend, then it's already paid for itself. So it's certainly something to consider. And you can set it all up through our website, optinetuk.net. Just to mention that again, that's where you can set up an account directly through us to get a few free credits and instant validation. If you do need any help with the accounts kind of outside of Flex, then if you give them a call, all their details are on their website. They're a really good team at 24X, and they'll be happy to answer any other queries that you may have. As always, though, you can find lots more about this on our portal. Click on the blue question mark in Flex to open it up, or visit it from any page, flexhelp.co.uk. And if you start putting in the details of what it is you're after, then you're able to find details about how to set up text messaging. Everything we've been through today, it will talk you all through, and you'll even find the 24X details on the website as well. So this was the latest in a series called Dig Deep. In this series, we're looking at real FLEXpertise of getting into the real bare bones of Flex and seeing how it can help to maximise Flex for your business. If you've got a video that you'd like us to create, you can drop us a ticket through the portal, flexhelp.co.uk, and make sure you keep reading our weekly Take 5 emails to find out more about what's coming up. Thanks as always for being a Flex customer, and look forward to helping you and your business again soon.